Hello and welcome again. You're watching TVP World's World News. People in Kosovo head to the polls today to cast their votes in the country's general elections. They will choose 120 MPs for the new parliament and, most importantly, their new prime minister. These elections come amid ethnic tensions in the country, as well as dwindling Western support for the currently governing party. Our Balkan correspondent Paweł Trzaskowski is on site.
I'm standing now in front of one of the polling stations in Pristina, the capital of Kosovo. More than 900 such places are open today throughout the country for people to vote in the country's general elections. It is estimated that there are around 1.6 million citizens in Kosovo. However, more than 2 million are eligible to vote. And this is because Kosovo has a large diaspora that emigrated from the country after the 1999 Kosovo War. And actually, over my time here in Pristina, I saw numerous buses with people coming in, mainly from Albania, to vote in the country's general elections. But there are also reports that buses from Serbia are also crossing the border, bringing Serbs to vote, mostly for the Serbian list. These elections spark a lot of emotions. One of the reasons for that is because it's only the 7th time that a parliament will be elected in Kosovo since the country declared independence in 2008. And I actually went to 3 political rallies here in Kosovo. They were all full of fireworks. They were all full of music, crowds of people waving flags, wearing campaign T-shirts, openly endorsing their political, the parties that they are supporting. And in today's general elections, people of Kosovo will elect 120 MPs for the parliament and, most crucially, the country's prime minister. Currently, the prime minister of Kosovo is Albin Kurti, who is the only prime minister in the history of Kosovo to last the full 4-year-long term. This is actually the voting station where he voted in the early hours of Sunday.
It's a new day and a sunny winter for the first ever regular parliamentary elections in independent state of Kosovo. I thank all the citizens who have already casted their vote, and I encourage every citizen to vote.
Albin Kurti is the leader of the Vetevendosje self-determination party, who won in a landslide 4 years ago and could form a majority government. However, over those 4 years of governing, Vetevendosje, support for Vetevendosje has dwindled. One of the reasons was some dissatisfaction from certain parts of Kosovo society, particularly the public workers. But another reason for that was Albin Kurti's crackdown on Serbian minority in Kosovo, which caused some stir with the US and EU, eventually resulting in some sanctions imposed on Kosovo. So that is why experts say that today's elections might result in coalition government. Vetevendosje is facing competition from 3 other major political parties. All of them are leaning further to the right than they are leaning to the right as opposed to Vetevendosje, who is a social-oriented party. And some experts even say that Vetevendosje becoming an opposition party is not also an unlikely outcome of these elections. From Pristina, Kosovo, for TVP World, I'm Paweł Trzaskowski.
And Paweł follows the elections from up close, so he will be updating us on the issue. Now, US President Donald Trump has spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin on the phone to discuss an end to the war in Ukraine, the New York Post reports. In an interview aboard Air Force One on Friday, Trump has indicated that the 2 leaders have spoken more than once on this topic. Earlier this week, the US president said that he would likely meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky next week to discuss peace talks. Russia's full-scale invasion on Ukraine started on February 24, 2022, and will soon enter its 4th year. Trump has been vocal about the need to end the conflict and promised a detailed plan to do so during his election campaign, but has yet to reveal any details. Speaking with the New York Post, Trump stressed that he has always had a good relationship with Putin and that the Russian president is also looking to end the conflict. However, in sharp contrast to President Trump's words, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in a speech yesterday that Russia is now increasing its army by more than 100,000 troops. According to Zelensky, Putin is preparing to continue the war, and intelligence data indicate that Moscow is currently creating new divisions and developing new military production facilities.
We know now, our intelligence reports to us, that the Russians are creating new divisions and developing new military production facilities. Obviously, their cooperation with North Korea will continue to expand. Unfortunately, Moscow is also spreading modern warfare technologies to that region, including drone technology, and this means a simple thing. Putin is not preparing for negotiations, not for peace, but for the continuation of the war. And not only against us, against Ukraine. He is now increasing his army by more than 100,000 more soldiers. All partners must know about this and must see it. We are ready to pass on the relevant information, and the relevant communication is already taking place through the intelligence line.
Now, an update from Ukraine. Official report, Russia launched 151 drones at targets across the country on Saturday night and Sunday morning. Ukraine's Air Force said in a statement that 70 drones were shot down, while 74 failed to reach their targets, most likely due to electronic interference. According to the RBC Ukraine news site, explosions were heard in the western Ukrainian city of Lutsk, which is around 100 kilometers from the border with Poland. Russia's defense ministry said it had intercepted and destroyed 35 Ukrainian drones overnight. Around half of these were brought down in the Kursk region, where Kyiv last year launched a major incursion. Now, the power networks of Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia will be synchronized with European Union systems via a connection with the Polish grid at 1 p.m. Central European Time on Sunday. The process began on Saturday as the three Baltic states disconnected their electricity systems from Russia's power grid, switching off a historic Soviet-era legacy. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is due to speak at a ceremony later on Sunday, which will also be attended by the presidents of Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania and Poland. The three countries stopped buying power from Russia following the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine nearly 3 years ago. Sunday's connection to the EU network follows a series of successful trials on Saturday, testing the Baltic grid's stability during potential interruptions. Estonia's Prime Minister says the decoupling of Latvia, Lithuania and his country from Russia's power network will provide security against Moscow's attempts to manipulate electricity supplies. He also revealed that Estonian forces are guarding the country's critical infrastructure.
It provides security that Russia can no longer manipulate the frequency band. For us, this has been a risk for years that Russia would want to play with the frequency band and destabilize the Baltics. We have a large operation going on in different places. On land, you can see the police and Estonian Defence League members guarding critical infrastructure. They are certainly watching over places where there are no people at the moment. And at sea, there is a major NATO operation underway that we asked NATO for. It is the Baltic Sentry, and it is not only our coast, not only guarding our cables, but it is actually in the Gulf of Finland, all the way to the Danish Straits.
Russian telecom firm Rostelecom is repairing a Baltic Sea cable it claims was damaged by an external impact. The Finnish Ministry of Economic Affairs says it was informed that Russia's Baltic cable and the second Russia cable, also running between St. Petersburg and the enclave of Kaliningrad, were damaged in late December. The Baltica cable is about 1,000 kilometers long, of which about 380 kilometers runs through Finnish waters. NATO has stepped up surveillance of member states' seabed infrastructure in the Baltic following a series of outages affecting gas pipes, power links and data cables. In each case, it's thought that the damage was caused by ships dragging anchors along the seabed following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia has denied any involvement. French President Emmanuel Macron will receive Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the Élysée Palace on Sunday evening. Their meeting comes on the eve of an artificial intelligence summit that will bring together heads of state, CEOs and other stakeholders in Paris. Organizers hope the event will spark a European AI awakening, following a recent US declaration that it will pump $500 billion worth of investment into artificial intelligence. The two-day AI Action Summit aims to establish scientific foundations, solutions, and new standards for sustainable cooperation in the field. Tens of thousands of protesters took to the streets across Germany in protest against an anti-immigrant, far-right Alternative for Germany party. 2 weeks ahead of the parliamentary elections, the AfD is currently polling in second place. At least 250,000 people gathered in Munich, far exceeding the organizers' expectations. Similar peaceful protests took place in all major German cities. Activists say the rallies were intended to draw attention not only to the AfD, but also to other far-right parties in Europe and the new Trump administration. The protesters also spoke out against Friedrich Merz, the CDU leader and frontrunner in the upcoming election, for sending proposals to Parliament for tough new migration rules that received the AfD's backing. Critics say that CDU broke Germany's unwritten post-Nazi promise by all democratic parties to never pass any rule or resolution with the support of far-right nationalist parties. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un reaffirmed his country's policy to further develop its nuclear forces. These remarks were made during his speech at the ceremony marking the 77th anniversary of the establishment of Korean People's Army this Saturday. Kim criticized the military cooperation between the United States, Japan and South Korea, accusing the three countries of raising tensions in the region, and vowed countermeasures. The North Korean leader said that the US deployment of nuclear strategic assets and war exercises with Japan and South Korea were creating military imbalance in the region and raising a grave challenge to the security environment. Now, Donald Trump, who met with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishida this Friday, has declared willingness to have a diplomatic relationship with North Korea. He has previously met with Kim in 2019 and is the only sitting US president to ever step a foot on North Korea territory. And that concludes this edition of World News. Thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned to TVP World for more.